I'm the bad guy for pre-gaming my wife's dinners. My wife and I are both 32. Since we got married and moved in together 5 months ago, my wife has simply not made nearly enough food for me. This is not a kind of situation where I'm constantly agitated at her for incompetence or anything like that. I will be more than happy to microwave a burrito. I will be more than happy to whip a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I can't. My wife has, every single night of our marriage, done the same thing. She will make me a tiny dinner. I'm taking like Chinese chicken salad with 30 grams of chicken and 10 leaves of lattuce arranged fashionably with dressing. When I finish eating, I'm still hungry because for a 230-pound man who works a physical labor job, it's not enough food. At first I tried to openly communicate with her, but she always took it horribly. She will adopt a 1,000-year state and then began talking about how independent she is and how she can't even make her husband a proper dinner. I had tried to calm her down with, "Oh, honey, that's not the case, I just eat too much." Or, "Don't worry about it, I can make it a bit more." I'll try to be overwhelmingly positive. It never helped. She would always get just incredibly disappointed in herself, cry, and or take it out on me. Then she would make the same exact amount the following day. After the communication route failed, I tried to eat her dinners as is. It became hard to sleep at night due to hunger, and I lost 7 pounds in the 7 months. Eventually, I figured out my own system. On my way home from work, I started swinging by a fast food restaurant and getting myself a burger. I would basically pre-game her meals with some more calories. I figured it was win-win, as what she doesn't know can hurt her, and I could have my fill of food. I will eat on my way home, walk indoor, pick up a salad or quinoa or homemade mac and cheese she made, compliment her for her delicious cooking, and later dispose of the wrappers discreetly. 2 days ago, I was on my way home, and in line at the drive-thru, my mother-in-law was coming out of the restaurant. She ran over and greeted me. I asked her in a humorous way not to tell her daughter where she saw me because she will take it badly, and she agreed. But then she nursed it on me anyway. I got home to a furious wife who demanded details. When I provided the truth, she got extremely angry and looked legitimately hurt. I'm not good at handling confrontation and feel like I betrayed my wife in some way. Was I wrong here? I'm at the bad guy for lashing out at my sister-in-law after she announced her pregnancy. I had a miscarriage at 7 months, literally 6 days ago. It was awful. I had to give birth to my unborn child while my husband was away in Oklahoma on business with only my best friend for support. My brother is married to sister-in-law who I normally get along well with. We talk and occasionally go out together, being shopping or to the club. Last night we had a get-together at my brother and sister-in-law house. It was kind of last minute, and they insisted we all attend. We got there and they had made us dinner. And while we were eating, they stood up and announced that sister-in-law is expecting. Everyone, my parents, sister, and grandmas, snapped up screaming in joy and congratulated them. I just stood up and walked to the toilet without saying a word, where I started to sob. My sister-in-law came to find me and said, "Why are you so crying? I thought you will be happy." I just exploded and screamed, "You really don't have a clue, do you? Who in their right mind springs this on a woman who had a late-term miscarriage mere days ago and expects them to jump for you?" Sister-in-law just said she thought it will lighten the mood after what happened to me. I kept screaming, "You couldn't have waited a week or just two, just so the dust had time to settle, even coming to me privately before the announcement, and just letting me and my husband know, so we wouldn't be so shocked, would have been better." My sister-in-law started to cry, and my family came to try and defuse the situation. I came back to the dining room to my husband still in his chair, teary-eyed, and we left. My sister messaged me saying, well, she understands where I'm coming from. It wasn't right to lash out at sister-in-law. Well, she's right, and I apologized to my sister-in-law via phone call and said that it was just a lot to take, and at once, especially given the circumstance. But that doesn't excuse my actions. She's only 16 and doesn't know what it's like. So, for clarification, my sister-in-law is 31. The 16-year-old is my bio sister. So, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy for correcting my stepdaughter's dad when he called me her nanny. I've been with my wife for 8 years now. She has primary custody of her daughter. Santa seen her dad, Mark every other weekend and some holidays, as I've been one of Santana's primary caretakers of the past 7 years. Since I moved in with her mom, I've taken care of her more than Mark has, and we are quite close. My wife and I went on to have 2 children together, who are now 5 and 18 months. I've been a stay-at-home dad since the 5-year-old was born. As a result, I'm the one making lunches, driving kids to activities, and etc. That includes for Santana. Mark has always felt insecure about my place in Santana's life. I've always encouraged her relationship with her dad, while also being a place she can go to in order to vent about both her parents. I've never asked her to call me dad, but I've made it clear I love her the same as her siblings. As she also said, she loves me and considers me her second dad. Mark also mocked me for my stay-at-home role. My wife always shuts him down, and I just ignore him. He has in the past jokingly called me Santana's nanny, and I just roll my eyes and say whatever you think, Mark. I really don't see him much as my wife will take Santana to her dad's and pick her up. However, yesterday my wife was sick and asked me to pick up Santana. She really couldn't get out of bed, and I knew Mark wasn't going to drive out to us. He refused in the past, so I went over to his place to pick her up. He was throwing a barbecue and had some family there. I'd never met any of them. Santana ran into my arms, excited to see me and shouting my name. A few people looked at Mark curiously. He laughed and said, "That's Santana's nanny." I shook my head and said, "I'm her stepfather, Greg. Nice to meet you all." Mark turned red and barely said goodbye to Santana. I didn't think much of it outside Mark just being Mark. However, Mark texted my wife later saying I humiliated him, and given I'd likely never see those people again, I should have just said anything. My wife told him he's overreacting, and he then texted me saying I had no right to correct him in his own home. He asked what was the big deal in his family thinking I'm her nanny. So, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy for telling my friend that spending $10,000 on a wedding dress is wasteful given her financial circumstances. This happened over the weekend, and she still isn't talking to me, so here we go. My friend is getting married next year, and is spending what I think is a ridiculous amount on a wedding dress. She doesn't have a high-paying job. She is a public school teacher, and live on a tight budget. Her fiancé makes more money. He is in tech, but she told me that they're splitting the cost of the wedding. 1/3 her parents, 1/3 his parents, 1/3 them as a couple, so it's not like his salary is over in this dress. We were out to brunch with a group of friends when her wedding came up, and she got out her phone to show us her wedding dress that she recently committed to. I was expecting something normal, a photo of her in the dress in the bridal shop, but it was just a sketch. Then she dropped the bomb that she working with a designer to make a brand new dress from scratch. This shocked me because she has never mentioned this before, and asked some follow-up questions about who the designer is, where she's getting this done, and how much it costs. And that when she dropped the $10,000 amount, I told her that was way too much to spend on a dress, and she gets super defensive. She's trying to justify as her chance to try out a fashion dress, because she's the one who sketched this thing, and it's apparently her dream dress from a design perspective that couldn't be purchased anywhere else. Here's where I might be a bad guy, because I didn't let it go. I told her that if she can't sew it herself, She can't call it her dress because the actual designer is going to be the one doing all the work, and it's wasteful to spend that much money on a vanity project. She took this poorly and shut down for the rest of the outing, and one of our other friends texted me after and told me that I was being a bad guy for telling her what she could or couldn't afford to do. The friend also told me that apparently they got their venue for free because it's owned by her fiance's family, and that the 10K for the dress was originally earmarked for the venue, and that's what they're spending it on. But I still think it's just way too much money to spend on a dress because the venue would be everyone but the dress is only for her. I probably shouldn't have confronted her about the cost in public, and I'm willing to apologize for that. But come on, this is way too much money for a public school teacher to spend on a dress, right? Emma the bad guy for leaving a toy in my shower. Best friend and I are both females, 30s. Her daughter is 3. I think this is the stupidest argument we have ever had, but she is still mad, so I thought I would appeal to the masses. I was out of town for 5 days over the 4th of July and paid her to feed my 2 cats while I was gone. I've done this for her family and their dog in the past too. She was being really terse and short with me after I got back, and I kept asking if something was wrong, but she wouldn't admit to it until we met in person a couple days later so I could get my keys back. And then she exploded. There is no way to sugarcoat this, so I will say it. I left an adult toy in the shower. I am a single lady. I live by myself, and it doesn't even look like that. It's one of those stylized ones that if you're an adult, you will definitely know what it is. But let's say you are 3 years old, you will have no idea. It's also bright purple, if that makes a difference, yeah? So yeah, her kid was messing around in the bathroom, pulled back the shower curtain, and saw it. Being in a question phase of life, she asked her mom, "What's that?" My friend told her, "This is a toy," and left it all that. But apparently she was shocked and mortified that her daughter has been exposed to such a thing of such a young age. I thought she was overreacting, but I still apologized and figured that was it. Nope, she's still mad because I guess her daughter will still get into the tub and point out how she has bath toys. And I'll say, okay, P also has bath toys. I think it's funny because it's one of those things that mention nothing to a kid but those to an adult. And she's gonna find something else to fix it on a week or 2. But they're going on vacation with a bunch of her in-laws soon, and she is terrified that her kid is going to say this while on vacation, and she will have to explain it to her in-laws. I told her she doesn't have to explain anything. She can just make something up like, "Oh, I give her some bath toys or something." This is not the big deal she's making it out to be. Now she says I'm being intensive to her feelings. We have been friends since we were like 9 years old. And I maintain this is the stupidest argument we've ever had. But maybe I'm wrong. So what do you think? Emma the bad guy for embarrassing my cousin in front of everyone at my wedding. Me and my wife got married in May. We had the wedding at this beautiful hotel. We had about 150 people attending. I have one friend who has a service dog and it's in a wheelchair. He was in an accident a few years ago and is paralyzed from the waist. His dog is always well behaved and nobody made a fuss. My cousin has a Great Dane that is untrained and nobody in the family likes the dog. I made it clear to her many times that the dog was not welcome to the wedding. Well, the day of the wedding, she shows up late with her dog on a leash. My father and I were furious and told her to leave with the dog. She refused and then let the dog off the leash. She promised he would be on his best behavior. He started jumping on the people, tried to play with my friend's service dog, and overall was upsetting everyone there. My cousin's defense was that he's therapy dog and she can't live without him. Then she pointed out that my friend brought a dog to the wedding, so it wasn't a big deal. I started yelling at her that there was a huge difference between a well-trained service dog and her dog. Everyone was staring at us at this point, and she grabbed her dog and left crying. My aunt approached me after the wedding that I didn't have to embarrass cousin like that, and she was struggling with mental health. I explained that I had told her many times before the wedding that the dog was not welcome. My cousin is now trying to point me as a bad guy. She sent me multiple messages demanding an apology. I'm the bad guy for embarrassing my cousin in front of everyone at my wedding. I'm the bad guy for making my daughter leave because my husband is attached to her. I've been married to my husband and my daughter's stepdad for 4 years. My 23-year-old daughter and I have a complicated relationship. She has been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. She has a lot of trauma from watching me and my husband's horrible marriage go down and was bullied in school. When she told me she was being bullied by peers, my view that all children are, in a sense, really tied in my hands because I told her that if I said anything to them, I would be an adult harassing a child. She has blamed me for that ever since and keeps referring to this one time where the kids at school called her trash due to the fact that she wasn't taking care of her hygiene due to depression. Part, not all, of my response was telling her that to take a shower and I brought her new clothes. The bullying finally ended with an explosion and a suspension for the ringleaders. She still threw the fact that a school clinic volunteer told her that if she was their kid, she'll have permission to punch back if administrators didn't do anything. I thought that having her live with me while she finished school and gets a job will help heal some childhood wounds if my second husband and I modeling a healthy relationship. However, my daughter now doesn't get along with my husband. She's a very introverted, creative person who likes immersing herself in escapism, so she'll get annoyed if she was sitting eating alone and my husband will sit across from her and eat, saying she ate later so she could eat alone. However, my husband started acting distant from me and my daughter complained that his eyes lingered for too long. She got very angry and there was a lot of shouting and slamming of doors. Finally, my husband admitted he is attached to her and it's hard to be around her all day. Said she was walking temptation and said that's why he was avoiding sex with me. I was so upset to hear this. I don't blame my daughter for this, but at the same time, the situation has become unbearable. Something will have to give, and couldn't collect my thoughts with both of them still being in a house. So I gave my daughter money to stay at the extended stay hotel and asked her to utilize her college emergency financial and housing resources they have for students in need. She responded by storming out and telling my ex, who is now circling social media using it to paint me as a villain of a villains. I'm not abandoning my daughter. She qualifies for those resources anyway, since my ex is unemployed and we are all in a substantial debt. I just need time to process the situation and don't want to leave my house to stay with my daughter when I have a marriage to figure out whether or not to save. So am I the bad guy? Am I the bad guy for asking my brother's girlfriend not to attend an upcoming family dinner? Okay, so I have 4 siblings and my 2 brothers have refused to talk each other, mostly for the past 2 years. I'm getting married in a few months and there's literally 1 week before then. They will be all in town and my brothers agreed that we could have a family dinner and they will both come and be on their best behavior. The thing is that my brother Owen's only stipulation is that my brother Greg's girlfriend Johnny doesn't come. The reason Owen doesn't want Greg's girlfriend there is because part of the reason they haven't talking due to Owen's wife Tracy being very upset with Johnny still over an episode when Tracy had my youngest niece. Johnny babysat for their old child, and they had apparently made arrangements that Johnny will continue to do so for the newborn as well after Tracy was done with maternity leave. However, there was some kind of miscommunication where Johnny thought that Owen and Tracy were going to be paying for more money and Owen and Tracy thought she will be getting the same rate. So a week before Tracy gave birth, Johnny literally just stopped showing up without giving them time to find anyone else. This kind of blew up into this huge fight that involved other pre-existing tensions with Owen and Greg. I thought this seems fair because Tracy is technically no part of the family, while Johnny isn't. However, Greg got very mad about this because he said Johnny is his family at this point, and if she can't come, then Tracy shouldn't be able to either. The problem is that Owen will refuse to come if Tracy can't, but Greg said he will come anyway. So I asked him if he couldn't just take one of the team, this once. And now he's really mad at me. So, am I the bad guy here?